What's up, everybody? I'm back, and it's time to do my Darius first impressions as well as a guide here. And I know it's been a little bit since he's been released. I have had a little bit of a weird sleep schedule because of playing way too much Diablo 3. But now that I am kind of settling down on that, I was able to get some games in on Darius and get my impressions of how I think he's going to play out in the league. I think if you've already played against him yourself or picked him up, then you'll know that he is quite strong and can do a lot of damage. So let me go ahead and talk about some of his strengths and his weaknesses, as well as how I was able to play him and get the most out of him myself. So Darius isn't the tankiest champion. However, with the right items, he's going to have enough to just run in there and go complete spin mode on the enemies. He's got a huge execute on his ultimate, which is actually true damage. So he's kind of like a Garen that can just continue chaining off those ultimates and become a really, really big threat to the enemy team the longer he's allowed to stay alive. Darius has a surprisingly strong early game as well. Not only due to the fact that he's able to bruise down most enemy champions really well with his Q while also farming quite safely, he's also able to allow the jungler to get off some very easy ganks due to the fact that he can pull people back in without too much effort, as long as he's in the proper range. A lot of times, if somebody engages in on you, then you can slow them down with your W, and then whenever the enemy starts to run away, you just pull them right back in, and then your jungler's already there, ready to go, and you've got an easy gank. And this is going to happen most times if your jungler knows this and decides to stick to your lane. You're not going to have any trouble at all. In fact, he has a lot of chance to do tower diving as well, just because you can jump in there and pull people away from their turret, and there's so many different opportunities for you to execute people and take them down from low HP. Really, the only weaknesses I found from Darius is that in 5-on-5 team fights, he could be focused down a little bit quicker just because of the threat that he does impose. So if you're not tanky enough, then yes, you are going to fall, since you are going to be in the thick of things trying to destroy them. But that is pretty much the way it can be said about any other bruiser. So as long as you build correctly, even if they do decide to focus you down, it's going to take them a little bit longer than if they were to focus down your squishies. So overall, that can work out for your team as long as you don't play retarded and run in way too far past your team. The main thing I feel you have to do is to learn the ranges of his Q, so you can spin on people and hit them right on the outside range, since it does more damage if you hit them on the outside rather than on the inside of his range. And then learn the range of his pull. Personally, I like to not have the pull on SmartCast because it's nice to be able to see the little range indicator as I'm running up to someone, so that right when they get in the range, I hit that E. It's not a spell that has to actually shoot out, such as Blitzcranks. If they're within range, whenever you use the ability, it'll instantly pull them in, so you don't have to worry about landing a hook or anything like that. You just have to have them inside that range, somewhat like Mordekaiser's E on his. Of course, not the same range as his. As far as builds are concerned, there are several different ways to build Darius based on your enemy's composition and based on how you're actually doing in the game. So what I usually ended up doing was going for a quick phage, and if the enemy had enough damage or magic damage on their team, I'll pick up a Hex Drinker, and then I'll finish up my Frozen Mallet and my Merc Treads if they have CC. Sometimes I would pick up some Armor Boots. Those Ninja Tabbies are really great if they don't have a lot of CC. Otherwise, you want to keep going for the Merc Treads. If they don't have a lot of magic damage they're going to worry about, then you can actually skip the Hex Drinker and go for your Frozen Mallet, and then possibly into a Bloodthirster, or even you can go for an actual Black Cleaver for that attack speed. Now, he does have some built-in armor penetration on his E up to 25%, so you don't have to worry so much about doing things such as Brutalizer early on for that armor pen, as you're going to have enough from your actual abilities. Now, one thing that I like to also get later on, if they have a lot of damage from, straight up physical, is I'll go for the Frozen Heart, and that helps me jump in there into the middle of everybody and slow down the attack speeds while doing big damage. So not only are you going to be providing utility, but you're going to be doing all that amazing damage that you already have. And finally, if you are against that magic team and you did go for the Hex Drinker, of course, finish up that Maul after you finished up your Frozen Mallet. And it's so nice to be able to have that Frozen Mallet and just lock down those enemies as they're trying to run away and stick to them like glue, destroy them with your ultimate at low HP. So let's talk about using him correctly. I've seen a lot of Dariuses run in there and try and just execute people when they're low health with their ultimate, but you have to keep in mind that you're going to be doing twice as much damage if you have all of your passive stacks fully ready to go. So you need to just try and be patient enough. If you see someone low health, do your best to at least attack them 1 or 2 times and then use a couple of your abilities to get those stacks up, and then you can use your ultimate to do maximum damage, and that way you're not stuck without your passive up and without a kill. Also, if you're going to be using an ignite with your character like I did, as it will definitely help you get many more kills you would not normally, try and throw down the ignite a little bit earlier than you normally would on other champions, since normally ignite is used to finish off a kill that you think you would not have gotten. In this case, you generally want to grab the kill with your ultimate to get the refresh on it. So try and throw down the ignite a little bit early if you know you're going to go for the kill with your ultimate. That way your ultimate will actually grab the kill, and that ignite has a little bit of extra time to get off all of its ticks before you toss that down. I had a little bit of trouble with this at first. It's not something that you're going to be used to doing, but once you get used to playing Darius, if you decide to actually play him a lot, I think this will be something that will really start to stick with you, and I can see you actually just completely demolishing people on Darius, no problem. For my runes and masteries, I actually mixed things up quite a bit, and I'll go ahead and explain those. On the mastery side, I went for 9, 13, 8. And the idea behind this was I just went for the extra 10% armor penetration to stack on top of his built-in 25. So essentially with that, you're going to have a Last Whisper already, and then go for the 13 into defense. What I like to do there is go for the health regeneration, the extra health, and then just 1 point into initiator, and that's going to help you out in the laning phase, in addition to the hardiness for that extra 6 armor. And then on utility, I like to go for the movement speed, and that's going to give you the option of just engaging and sticking to your targets a lot easier. Alternatively, if you just want to go for full damage, you could go ahead and go for 21 points in offense for that Executioner to combo with his ultimate, which is also a very strong way to do it, to give you that extra 6% damage to targets under 40%, since he is kind of an Executioner champion, and that does make sense. But personally for me, in my playstyle, I prefer to have that strong laning phase, and I felt like the 9, 13, 8 gave me that stronger laning phase presence, rather than trying to go just full out damage. As for the runes that I decided to pick up, I go for 8.3 armor pen, 12 magic resist, 11 physical damage, and 13 armor. The way I have that set up is that I've got 4 attack damage red runes, and then the other 5 are armor penetration, and then the seals are actually armor, and then my quintessences are all attack damage, and the blues are all magic resist. Overall, Darius is a really fun champion to play. He's super strong, so if you're looking for somebody who can snowball heavily against enemies, Darius can definitely do that. And I can also see him being competitive, as he doesn't have a lot of terrible downfalls. He's going to be tanky enough to be a bruiser, and it doesn't require him to just run in and completely go crazy and be super squishy. You can build tanky and still do tons of damage, especially considering the fact that he does have true damage on his ultimate, and then he's got that pull to help initiate with fights. I actually had a lot of fun with him in a game that I played where I actually had a Nautilus for the initial grab, and then I can pull them in one more time with my own grab. So a lot of different options with various team compositions. Hopefully you guys decide to give him a whirl. This is Colby Cheese. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Let me know your comments down below of what you think of Darius, and I'll be doing a little bit more gameplay of him in the future most likely. So I'll see you guys around for the next one. Peace out.